Who with it now?
Vikings Game Day Live is presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Right side three. 1, 2, 3.
20, 15, 10, touchdown!
You're watching Vikings Game Day Live.
Everything we talked about all week long, what it was going to take to win the game, that little added bonus we talked about last night, it all came to fruition, right? And we don't really care what's happened in the past, because everything we do is about moving forward. You guys woke up today on a mission and got it done in every phase. In every phase. Give it up.
And that was the scene in the Vikings locker room moments after head coach Kevin O'Connell's successful debut and their 23-7 impressive win over the Green Bay Packers at US Bank Stadium. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Game Day Live. We are from TCO Performance Center today as the Vikings get ready to embark to Philadelphia for their Monday night game, of course, tomorrow night. Don Mitchell also heading to Philadelphia to cover the game for Fox 9, and our guy Ron Johnson here. Before we move along with the coverage of what happened last week and to looking ahead to tomorrow night's game, congratulations on being inducted into the Minnesota Gophers Hall of Fame on Friday night. That must have been quite the moment for you and your family, Ron.
Yeah, I still haven't had time to digest it. You know, I think I'm gonna wait till Monday to kind of just really thank people and you know, send out all the thank yous and everything. But no, it was an outer body experience. It was really cool. I had fun. JG was our presenter.
Just a guard, yeah.
That made it a lot more comfortable. I was the only person that brought a drink to the stage because everybody challenged me. I felt like we were back in college because Dana Burke and I, or Larson, but now Burke, but Dana Larson and I, you know, played soccer. She played soccer when I was there, and one of the volleyball players. So we were all joking in the back, like, you know, just take a drink up there. And so, of course, like in college, I'm willing to do what everybody wants to have fun. So I grabbed the bottle first, and then I was like, oh, that might be too much. I just took a drink on stage with me, and JG's like, yeah, just bring it. So, no, we had a lot of fun. I gave JG a lot of crap early. I gave him one-word answers. Yeah. So he started panicking, thinking, like, is this guy, like, nervous? And then I loosened up. I gave a shout-out to Vikings Game Day Live, so hopefully all the fans that were at the Hall of Fame ceremony are watching today. But, no, yeah, it was fun. My dad always joked. My wife made it to the Hall of Fame 10 years before me.
Shawnee.
Yeah, yep.
Oh,
so
yeah?
my dad
Another
would
former
always,
intern of mine.
Yeah, my dad would joke like, you know, when are you ever going to make it? So,
Funny.
you know, he passed away, but I know, you know, I teared up a little bit just talking about him, but I know he was excited. I'm wearing the Super Bowl ring again today, just keeping him with me for the weekend, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Well, Don, I mean, that's a really cool thing. Hey, let's get back to what we just saw with Kevin O'Connell. What impressed you about the manner in which he conducted himself in his debut, not so much just the X's and O's, but you know, before the game itself and after the game?
Yeah, what I really liked about this whole game is that he showed poise beyond not only his years, but his experience. You know, it's different to say you're a rookie head coach and then to go out there and do everything that you say you're going to do. Everything when you coach is not osmosis. Just because you were, you know, in LA doesn't mean you know how to do it yourself. But he was calm. He executed the plays well, and I think after it was really great that everybody got a game ball. Even the Wilfs got a game ball. Every single person got a game ball, so he knows that it's not just him. He's going to share the wealth, but he also said, I've got a lot to learn. But I really liked that it was impressive, I would say. It was impressive.
And Ron, from a player's perspective, what do you think those guys were looking for from their first-year head coach, whether it be a Justin Jefferson, an Adam Thielen, or Kirk Cousins in terms of communication and what you saw from your perspective?
Yeah, I think from a first-year head coach, he's doing exactly what he should be doing, which is you've got to have synergy with the quarterback. I mean, we've looked at Bruce Arians and Patrick Mahomes. You looked at Belichick and Brady. You look at Peyton and Breeze. You look at Peyton and Dungy. I mean, when you think about quarterback head coach, even if they're offense or defense, it doesn't matter. That quarterback has to be comfortable with his head coach. And Kirk Cousins, for the first time in, I don't know, what, 8-10 years, looks comfortable. I mean, he's leading the post game. He's, you know, talking with confidence. He's not stumbling over his words, trying to come up with a perfect speech. He just seems a lot more confident. And so I think Kevin O'Connell's doing exactly what he's doing. And the biggest thing is don't be Scott Frost. Like we saw what happened in Nebraska. He never had a game plan, and it seems like Kevin O'Connell has a game plan. He stuck to it. We'll see Monday night, though. I mean, this is going to be a test, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, it is, Don. I mean, it was a moment, and this is one thing, the hug, the exchange with Kirk and Kevin and Kwesi and everybody else that's in there. The Wilfs are there, of course, but it's one game, yet it seemed like more like a college atmosphere in there than a professional one for the first game. But there was a great deal of relief, more than anything, because they saw what they've been working on for months come to fruition last Sunday.
Yes, because, we're all saying, okay, this is great. We haven't seen the starters play yet. We don't really know what to expect. Everyone's saying that we have this plan. It's gone according to plan. We're going to unveil it for you. So I think for us, Rosie, you said it last week, it's like having a Christmas present just sitting under the tree, and then you finally get to unwrap it. And we're all like, whoa, that is what I wanted. That's impressive. So I really liked that. But what I really, and you talk about this, it's not just lip service to caring about each other in the locker room. And I hate dissing what happened in the past, because everything new is shiny and great, right? Even when Zimmer was here at first, it was shiny and great, right? Okay, it's one victory. Let's see what happens if and when they lose. I mean, hey, maybe they could go all the way and not lose, but you never know.
Ron, as we know, Kevin O'Connell came here with the offensive reputation. He's calling his own plays. He didn't do that in LA, but he certainly had a lot to do with the game plan. So how would you describe what you saw with his relationship with Kirk Cousins at the outset here in terms of communication, and did it bring out the best in what Kirk Cousins can do for this football team?
Last year, everybody talked about the Vikings offense needed tempo. They needed to come to the line of scrimmage, have some tempo, get up there quicker, do what Brett Favre does, do what Aaron Rodgers does, do what Tom Brady and Peyton Manning did, which is take advantage when you know the defense is on their heels. And you saw that from Kevin O'Connell. Whether that's Kirk Cousins just doing it, or whether Kevin O'Connell was saying in the headset, hustle, hurry, 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 or whatever their terminology is. But this is what I'll say. On first down, they are the #1 offense in the NFL, 8.6 yards. Think back to the past couple of years, we're always like, this is the most predicated, or, we can dictate exactly what they're going to do in first. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They might throw a little short pass, then they're going to run the ball. 8.6 yards gained on first down is #1 in the NFL. That is absolutely awesome. And what that means is just when he's coming to the line of scrimmage, on that first down play, the defense has no idea what they're going to do, and Kirk Cousins is finding his open guy, as we see there. That was just a great way to start the game, and they finished the game the same way, strong. And, I mean, when you're gaining 8.6 yards on first down, that means you're in 2nd and 2. That means you're in 2nd and 1. That means your playbook is wide open, and so that's why Kevin O'Connell is so successful right now.
There were his numbers last week, 23 out of 32, 277 yards, and 2 touchdowns to JJ as well. But he's not going to change who he is, Don. I mean, Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins, no matter who's calling the plays for him. But having that confidence in what the game plan is and moving the ball around, and we haven't got to Dalvin Cook yet, but he was absolutely in control of that football game.
What I think was even more impressive is we're seeing him, yes, be more aggressive. When we saw that in preseason, but what I liked in this last game is his pocket presence. He even scrambled. He stepped up, hitting guys on the run. That's not always the Kirk Cousins that we know, right? We've seen him just kind of wait, hesitate, he did check down a little bit. And then when he would see something and he did let it rip, that completion to Justin Jefferson, I enjoyed that. I love the pocket presence and under pressure. He was pressured about 19 times. He handled it smoothly, so I really enjoyed seeing what came out of that.
We're going to talk more about Justin Jefferson, because why not? I mean, it's Justin Jefferson, Ron, but in terms of seeing Kirk and his exchange with Justin on the sidelines and all those little things, but it looks as though every defense is going to have to say, what in the world are we going to have to do to slow this guy down?
Yeah, I mean, watch Cooper Kupp's film from last year. You can't slow him down. What you have to do is literally pick, and I used to say this back when Stephon Diggs was here, Adam Thielen is like death by 1,000 cuts. He will catch the ball every single time, and he will matriculate down the field, and he's going to get them there. Justin Jefferson is one swift slice of the, I mean, for those anime fans out there, it's one swift slice or one big punch, and Justin Jefferson is there. And so that's what you have to pick now. Do you want to die by 1,000 cuts and let Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne get you up the field? Or do you want to take your chances, go one-on-one with Justin Jefferson, and have the knockout shot like Mike Tyson back in the day? So this defense is not, and what Kevin O'Connell said I loved, he said, I don't care what you do, you're never going to figure out where Justin Jefferson is. Like Carmen Sandiego. I'm going to move him around the field, and you got to figure out where he's at and then what you're going to do, and I'm not going to tell you until the last minute, and that's why you saw that last motion with Jefferson and the touchdown. Packers couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see if the Eagles can figure it out. Justin Jefferson not unhappy that the Eagles did not draft him. Of course, it ended up here in Minnesota. We're going to have to talk more about Justin Jefferson's big game and looking ahead to tomorrow night's game against the Eagles. Coming up next on Vikings Game Day Live.
Welcome back to Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Feel like football again. I feel like a little kid today, waking up this morning, just excited for the game. Especially for this type of rivalry. I live for these type of big games, so definitely excited to get out there, and I'm glad I had this type of start.
And welcome back to Game Day Live. Mark Rosen along with Ron Johnson and Don Mitchell. And Don, from a media standpoint, you got a guy like JJ right now. And I mean, we went through the Randy Moss era here, and some other, and obviously Stephon Diggs had his hot and cold moments. But capsulize from a media standpoint what it's like to deal with JJ and how he's connecting with the fans right now.
Well, I think his play is what's connecting with the fans, right? Like, first of all, the kid comes out, he does everything right, it just seems. He's got explosive plays. He's leading the NFL right now, 20.4 yards per catch, right? I mean, you come out, you do what you say you're going to do, you're going to get the fans behind you. But he's also just such a joy as a person. Mm-hmm. You know, he literally doesn't change who he is from a win to a loss. He just enjoys it all. And he also expects a lot from himself. You know, with the gritty now, like he'll have fun with you to talk about, Madden's kind of messed it up a little bit. I might change it up a little bit. He's just real and he's enjoyable, and success hasn't changed him. I think that's key.
Ron, you have to think about the Vikings weighing in their minds what that first drive was going to be like for months and months and months. They get the opening kick and they go down the field and score it in 4th and 1. That had to feel really good because everything they worked on for all those months came to fruition that first drive.
Yeah, and when you have a younger guy, we talked about analytics, and Zimmer wasn't a fan of analytics. He was a fan of his gut. Well, Kevin O'Connell seems like he's going a little bit more analytical, and Kwesi's talked about that before. He's like, analytics, still, you have to have human nature in analytics. And so there's a combination between the two. And so when you think about 4th and 1 and where they're at in the field, a lot of teams might say, maybe we should just pooch punt it here. Let's let our defense win this game. Well, Kevin O'Connell's like, no, my offense is good. I'm going to go for it. And it happened twice, and it paid off. And so I think it's not just a gamble. Now you're putting them on alert, kind of like the Steelers with Mike Tomlin. They go for 50% of the time because they're like, look, if I get half of these, it's still a field goal, or an extra point. So I think that's where Kevin O'Connell's coming in this NFL and Sean McVay did it, Shanahan did it, LaFleur did it with the Packers, and so now we have a new one.
One game a season doesn't make, Dom. All the consternation has been for years and years and years about this offensive line and giving Kirk Cousins more protection. Mm-hmm. Saw a lot more of that last week, but maybe it's a combination of putting him in the best position to succeed and keeping him a little bit more mobile in the pocket. But that's going to be an interesting storyline as the season progresses, especially with the crowd situation tomorrow night in Philly. Yeah,
and I was really impressed with the offensive line, and I know a lot of people were giving Ed Ingram, the rookie, a little bit of grief because he gave up that sack. But other than that, he acted mature. A lot of the other guys in the O-line said we liked how he just shook it off. He acted mature. He went right back in there. He did his job. I mean, they gave up 19 pressures on Kirk Cousins, but they handled it well. So if you can handle adversity as a rookie, get back at it and do it well, and the rest, I mean, Brian O'Neill was playing lights out as usual like we thought. If we can keep this O-line playing that way, I think that Kirk is going to have a really good season.
Yeah, I guess it's tempo and understanding when he has to get rid of the football and not being afraid to make a mistake. And that's the other thing, because Kirk sometimes would try to be too perfect. And, if you throw a pick once in a while, obviously you don't want to do it in your own end. It's going to happen. And keep in mind, Ron Johnson, there's also a guy on this team, as we look at these highlights, spread the ball around, named Dalvin Cook, who rushed for 90 yards, who's arguably one of the top 5 running backs in the league, and how he's going to continue to fit into what this Vikings offense is going to do to kind of mess up the defense and not get used to one aspect of what we're going to be doing. Yeah,
and people were like, oh, man, do we need to work on the run game? Dalvin Cook got 90 yards, and it was quiet. It wasn't like an explosive, exciting Dalvin Cook, 100 plus 90. But last year, he only did that 5 times where he had 90 or more yards. So he had a 200-yard game. We do know that. So I think he's right on pace for what he's been. And the big difference was he didn't have a whole lot of work. Like, he didn't have to do he didn't need, 25 to 30 carries to get 100 or 90 yards. He did it in a small work size, which means Dalvin Cook's going to be healthy. It looks like they're going 2-1. So Dalvin gets 2 series, and then they're putting Madison in for a full series, not a sub. You're going to go this full series, and I like that. That's what the Rams did. And, I think their goal is, look, we're not trying to give you a ton now. We want to win the Super Bowl. So how do we do that? We need you healthy, because in November, December, you're probably going to get 30 to 40 carries.
I think there's also a little bit of conversation about how will they utilize C.J. Ham as the fullback? I mean, because is he going to be kind of an odd man out given their offensive scheme? But what did you guys see in utilizing C.J. Ham and going forward, more importantly?
This is what I'll say. On first down, they ran the ball 16 times. They only passed 11. So C.J. Ham is in there. You also are going to see C.J. Ham motion over. I think, honestly, right now, Irv Smith needs to find a place. He didn't look like he had a place. I think C.J. Ham is going to be that blocking guy off of Johnny Munt. And where does Irv fall into this place? Because KJ Osborne is really good, so I think this is going to be like you have to earn your spot on this field. And so I think C.J. Ham is just fine. We haven't seen some of the fullback screens that we know he can do. Again, this playbook is vast. It's wide. Yeah. So how you don't have every game, not going to get to it, but it's in there. And C.J. Ham I think is a really good blocking option for them too.
The game obviously did not come down to a field goal, Don, but the Vikings feel very confident in the guy who maybe tomorrow night's the game. Greg Joseph has been the only guy in camp from day one. Kicked, what, a 56-yarder?
A 56-yarder last week. Let me tell you, even during all the preseason, just to see them having fun, like he'll make a field goal, back it up, make a field goal, back it up. I mean, he was kicking from that length all preseason long. So when they lined up, dialed it, and went right in there, I'm telling you, so many people in that stadium, it like erupted. It's almost like they expected him not to miss it, and we're surprised that, expected him to miss it. We're surprised that he hit it, but then they were like confident. So the way this coaching staff looks at Greg Joseph this year, Greg is invincible right now. Let's just hope that this just keeps going because, he didn't even stutter. He didn't do anything. He just nailed it perfect. So, you're going to have to need that in a game like tonight that might be, tomorrow night that might be close, yeah.
Pete Burcich is always part of our team here as well, but he's going to be heading with the Vikings team to Philadelphia. But before he sat down with head coach Kevin O'Connell. Talk a little defense in that great fourth and goal that they had early in the game against the Green Bay Packers.
Welcome to Film Room with Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell. And Coach, congratulations on your first win. I know mentally right now you're 100% on the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah. But if you would, please take us through some of your favorite plays from Sunday.
Yeah, I thought it was just a huge opportunity for our team, for our coaching staff, our players to get to US Bank Stadium and have that kind of atmosphere at home. For an opponent we really wanted to, get a victory against in week one. A lot of plays we could have obviously chose from this week, but I thought we would start out with, defensively. I'm an offensive guy, but defensively, when you can hold Aaron Rodgers and that offense to very limited points compared to what they're normally able to get. It starts with the big guys up front in so many ways, and we really assembled a group up front that we really felt needed to be versatile. You get down to this first play. This is a game-changing play. We obviously had our first drive offensive. We end up with that 4th and 1 down there close. We score. They end up with that same decision to make, just a little bit closer, right in that 1.5-yard range where you could throw it, you could run it. So we really needed to call a defense when you look at this where we need to account for both. And in our defense, we know Aaron Rodgers has choices, right? They're going to look at this box and they're going to say, of all these Vikings players in there, do we have 6 guys to block those 6 guys? Well, they do, in fact. So what that normally means when you look at this is we just had Z. We had, obviously, Bullard and Harrison Phillips highlighted right there. They're going to have to fight the good fight, Pete. You know this. Yep. We've got to find a way to keep that line of scrimmage right there, because if we get knocked back even at all with a big old running back like they had right there, he's about 250 pounds. I would not recommend trying to tackle him by yourself like we've talked about to our guys all week long. Let's make sure we get a lot of purple hats to the ball. And what I think is special right here, a couple things. You see Z. The big thing right here is he's going to be the guy, if they want to have angles and potentially get a double team inside, he's going to be the guy that's got to chase it down and try to get a piece from the side. But getting a piece from the side only really matters if you get that kind of knockback right there. Look at that. You see Eric Kendricks, you see Harrison Phillips, Bullard pushing his guy almost 2-3 yards into the backfield. Where are you going to go if you're A.J. Dillon trying to punch that in? I'll tell you where you're going to go. You're going to get tackled at the 1-yard line, and we're going to try to go 99 yards right back against you.
It was an amazing play by Harrison Phillips and how he went to his right and then ricocheted back in. And then what you were talking about with Za'Darius, when those defensive ends come from behind, wrapping up the legs of the running back so they just can't keep churning because you know you're going to get the long whistle.
You're exactly right. And I think the big thing right here to see is just the fact that
we ended up with almost 9 purple hats around the ball in a goal line defense where they're spreading you out sideline to sideline. I just thought that was an indicative play of what we were really looking for and the ability to keep them out when we had to have it. And we have a saying on defense around here. We play shell. We know that people are going to be able to churn out some plays, but you'll hear me say this a lot this year, make them snap it one more time, because we feel like with our group of 11 out there, you make them snap it one more time, we're going to find a way to keep them out.
Yeah, definitely a huge momentum turning play. Once again, Coach, congratulations. We look forward to seeing you next week. Stay tuned. We'll be back with Coach Kevin O'Connell.
All right, thanks, Pete and Kevin. Always interesting to hear what the head coach has to say, especially about defense. And it's interesting that Patrick Peterson, I remember we were sitting, he called the timeout. I think there's some confusion right before that. He called it on the field, which is veteran leadership. Then they were able to set themselves and make that play.
Yeah, Hicks. So it was 12 men on the field. So Jordan Hicks didn't get the call.
That's the reason why.
So you can see Patrick Peterson counting, doing whatever whatever they do, and he was like, wait a minute, somebody has to leave because somebody came in. So again, yeah, veteran heads up, because most guys would have lined up like, oh man, we got to stop them on 4th and 1. He was counting the guys as they ran in, and he only counted one go off, and he's like, wait a minute. And then you could see Hicks start to run, and he's like, you're not going to make it. Because Aaron Rodgers,
smart.
They veteran quarterbacks will just snap it. They don't care what the play. Like, I see you, I'm snapping it. Now I have a free play. So yeah, Patrick Peterson saved that one.
Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, not to see him celebrate, throw a touchdown pass, unusual in any circumstances, and the Viking defense, Don, 3-4, we heard a lot about it. We weren't quite sure what it was going to look like, but Zadarius Smith, Daniil Hunter back in the lineup, pretty much as advertised and what they'd hoped for game 1.
Yeah, and I think that they got a lot of energy from that goal line stand. You know, I just think that Harrison Phillips really got that defense going. He said, we'll defend a blade of grass if we need to. And then you see Zadarius step up, right? That got the building pumped up. When he got Rodgers down, and then he did his dog crawl and then eating the dog food. I mean, people love that. And then you see, Daniil and just everything. Daniil got his sack, and then Jordan Hicks got one. DJ Wanham got one. This defense was just feeding off each other. And I love what Coach just said there. Make them snap it one more time. Yep. It's like they're forcing you to try us. And I love that attitude.
Ron, as a wide receiver, early in that game, there was a rookie named Christian Watson who had both hands on the football. And I can only imagine that poor kid. And he's a good young player. My, that was a break the Vikings caught there.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there before. Like, when you're young, I remember against the New Orleans Saints, I'll never forget, it happened to me. I ran a post corner wide open, and I kind of stumbled and fell. I thought I caught it, tip of the ball, they said hit the grass. And so it's just one of those moments where you're like, if I could have that back, slow my feet down, catch it. And Christian Watson's going to look at this, and he's going to say, you know what I did? I panicked right there.
Oh, look at that.
When he got past Patrick Peterson, he panicked a little bit because his hands were like flat versus trying to open them up and have all 10 fingers. Chris Carter talks about it all the time. Get all 10 fingers on it. Right there, he starts to panic. You can see him overrunning. His hands are flat, and he just right there. You see it. Hands are flat. They weren't together. Chris Carter talks about you got to have 10 fingers on the ball.
Face.
Oh my!
And so again, he's gonna make a play later. He's gonna come back. He's a good fast kid. You can see his speed.
Yeah.
Good thing he didn't do it against the Vikings though. So he'll do it in the next 2 weeks. You'll see it.
The look on Aaron's face. It's back to Philadelphia for Don Mitchell, the Vikings football team. You know what happened last time. We'll get into that a little bit. And Harrison Smith sits down with Tatum Everett. Talk more. There they are. Oh my goodness. Here on Vikings Game Day Live.
He's been shirtless since like 9 years.
You're watching Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Well, they made some good throws, and you know, they had some good concepts, and they beat some of our guys. Credit to Philadelphia. They got after us pretty good tonight. We didn't do enough good things.
Oh, you have to look at that again. Yeah, the NFC Championship game. What I remember, Ron Johnson and Don Mitchell, Mark Rosenbach with you. The Vikings went down the field and scored the opening touchdown. Touchdown pass to Kyle Rudolph. Here we go. Remember, bring it home. Super Bowl back to Minneapolis. And you're heading there to the city of brotherly love again. But that was a nightmarish day for so many reasons.
You know, somebody said on the win probability chart for that game, right, it kind of looked like if you were hooked up to a heart machine, right? Like it starts off and then it goes up, right? Because Kyle Rudolph, and then it goes down. You get to the second quarter, they have the trifecta. They had an 11-yard rush. Then they had a huge passing touchdown, 53 yards to Alshon Jeffrey, and then a field goal. And it just flatlined after that. Like seriously, there was no air in the press room or in the press box or anything for the whole second half. You're just like, they just gave up.
And then we both heard about the Philly fans the next day because we got snowed in at the airport and heard all the horror stories of the abuse. I don't use that word lightly. I mean, it was an abusive situation with a lot, not every fan, but obviously a lot of fans directed towards the Viking.
Oh yeah, I mean,
families.
we don't see it because we're at the game, and by the time we leave, it's already cleared out. But people were telling us at the airport, like, my grandma had a cane, and the fans kicked the cane out from under her, and she fell, and they laughed, like that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, if you're in a city where they have to grease the light stanchions so that they don't climb it, it's interesting.
Ron, I heard Adam Thielen earlier this week, though, because, bring it on, basically. As a player, do you welcome that kind of environment? The Giants used to play, the Giants and the Eagles just hate each other, but, I mean, you know what that was like. But now it's the Vikings are going into that Monday night crowd. They're revved up. They won their first game last week, first game at home.
Yeah, I remember the Ravens Steelers. Like, it was the same hated. I mean, Ray Lewis would talk about it, and there would be fights. I mean, there were eye gouges. There were fans cursing us out on the bus. Ryan Clark talks about on ESPN how he hated going to play against Ray Lewis and Ed Reed because he knew what Baltimore was going to do to the Steelers when they got there. So, yeah, it's you love those. What you don't want, though, is for it to get violent. Like, you don't want to kick grandma's cane. The grease in the pole. I heard people got hit with beer cans walking through the parking lot. There's actually a video of that. Like, somebody videoed a guy throwing a beer can. So you don't want to get to that. But yeah, I think players love this. You feed off the energy and then you feed off the silence. Like when you can silence their fans, you start to feed off that because then you can antagonize them.
Well, the head coach is long gone. Nick Foles is long gone. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. So let's talk about tomorrow night's game and what this Viking defense has to do and what your impressions are of this Eagles team, which is now kind of favored to win the NFC East.
Yeah, I mean, again, it was the Lions, but on third down, they were 50%, conversion, like getting first downs on third down. So I don't know if it's the Lions are just that bad or Jalen Hurts is doing a good job. We talked about the RPO. We talked about A.J. Brown they have now. I think they have a guy that they trust to run the RPO. Jalen Hurts can run the ball. You have to keep him contained because he can do this right there. And that's why you got to have somebody spying him or containing him. And I think with Brian Asamoah, and his speed, you got Cam Bynum, you got Lewis Seen coming back. You can do a 3-safety look. One of the guys spies the QB. I think that's going to be a possible probably third down look for them.
What I think is really interesting about him is if you look at his stats, right, he completed less than 60% of his passes, right? No touchdown passes at first, like for 243 yards. But let me tell you, he did things to win. And if that's all quarterback can do some games, that's what you need. And you look at his stats, this guy can rush, right? So he's the only player in NFL history. He has passing yards for 4,306, rushing 1,146. So he can be a running back and power it through himself. So he's a guy that you have to contain. He may not always do it pretty, but he can get the job done, and he's mobile, and you have to account for him.
Let's keep in mind, Ron, the Eagles also gave up a lot of points to Detroit. So, I mean, they've been studying that all week and how they're going to attack this Eagles defense, particularly that secondary, which I think is one of the weakest points.
Yeah, so the thing about the Eagles is the Lions, and I hate to say this, it's weird to say it, but the Lions actually are playing well. Like, they're playing for their coach. They love him. They love Dan Campbell. They love what the energy brings. So I think with the Eagles defense, the biggest thing that you have to understand with them is when the holes are there, take them. And I think Kirk Cousins trusts his receivers now, especially Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. If they're going to give you man coverage, attack it. And I think that's where the Eagles are going to, because the Eagles are going to want to come after him. We know Jalen Reagor wants to make a big play on punt return.
Oh, yeah.
Just don't do anything stupid. And they should be able to win this game. But yeah, I think the Eagles defense, their holes are going to be gap integrity type situations. And I think doubting Kirk Cousins. Everybody doubts Kirk Cousins until he stabs you in the face with a ball. And that's what a lot of guys do. Like every player, when they interview him, it's always, oh yeah, we know what Kirk Cousins is going to do. You know, like it's never like a Tom Brady type of interview where they're like, oh, this guy's great, I'm scared of him.
Let's hear from Harrison Smith, who sat down with our Tatum Everett to talk about the previewing the Vikings-Eagles game tomorrow night.
Blitz coming. Garoppolo buried. Harrison Smith. It is tipped and intercepted. Harrison Smith. And it was perfectly timed by Harry the Hitman.
4 sacks, 2 turnovers, and a season-opening win against the Packers. After this offseason of change, what kind of a statement do you think the defense made on Sunday?
You know, I don't know if it was a statement or not. We just went out, played our game, you know, read our keys, took care of our assignments, played together, had fun. So that's really all we're looking to do, and people can take it however they want.
Right, it's basically a brand new scheme, brand new staff for the most part. When you were playing under Ed Donatell in week 1, what did that feel like?
Confident, reassured. Yeah. I mean, we all had trust in each other, trust in the coaches. When there was a little adversity, nobody was, you know, second guessing ourselves or anything. We just kind of picked it back up, and it's pretty seamless.
We do have to talk about your interception, though.
Rodgers slings it off his back foot. Yes! Harrison Smith, the safety, skied up and brought it down. The captain in his 11th season picks off Aaron Rodgers.
You basically mossed Randall Cobb there. What were you seeing on that play?
I was just, I was kind of taking Randall. I wouldn't say I mossed him. I was in a little more advantageous position than he was, and just tracking the ball and going up, and that's the stuff you learn when you're a kid. So you don't want to forget the basics of sometimes you can just go up and make a play.
It was your 30th career interception, which is a league lead for safeties since 2012. Is there one that maybe sticks out to you? Do you have a favorite pick?
I'll always remember my first one.
Intercepted, and it's picked off by Harrison Smith inside the 20 to the 15. Touchdown!
I wouldn't say I have a favorite. Like, I just want the next one. It's fun. It's fun when you take the ball away. It feels pretty cool.
What does that feeling feel like in the moments after?
That one I caught and went to the ground immediately. But when you catch it and you have a chance to run, is when like you kind of get this like feeling that takes over your body where you're like super overly excited. So I still remember how I felt when I first got my first one, and like kind of the surge that takes over your body. And most guys would tell you the same.
This surge, that feeling, how much of that drives you to have played this long in the league? You're now in your 11th season.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. You know, making plays, you can't really duplicate those feelings a lot of other places in life. So every time you go out onto the field, you have an opportunity to make those plays and change the game.
How does how you envisioned your career to be compared to how your career's unfolded?
Honestly, I didn't envision my career much longer than whatever practice or game I was going to.
Yeah.
I kind of took that mindset towards my later years in college. I kind of stopped looking forward into, can I make it to the NFL, this and that. I just started focusing on just playing that day and getting better. And then, you know, obviously learning things along the way and keeping those with me. But I still try to take that approach as much as I can. It just allows me to play a little bit more free.
And we'll be right back. Why is Kevin O'Connell getting slimed? We'll have that story and our favorite segment, Sink or Sail.
Woo!
That's coming up next.
Woo-hoo!
This is Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Well, Justin Jefferson was named Nickelodeon Player of the Week, but look who took the slime, his head coach, Kevin O'Connell. We were just speculating during the break. I don't know what that's like to get out of your hair, Dawn Mitchell.
Nasty. It looks nasty. I'm saying it's a couple of showers worth, but.
Oh my goodness.
I think Kevin said it was very interesting, so it couldn't have been good.
It was interesting. Kirk Cousins basically rattled off like 6 of his favorite Nickelodeon shows of all time, like he was watching them every day.
Yeah,
right?
Nick at Night, man. It raised all of us, didn't it?
As a guy with 2 daughters, my 7-year-old Quinn, she plays with slime all the time. It's gotten in her hair, so we've.
Is it bad?
It's hard to get out.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hot water.
Nasty.
A lot of hot water.
Wow.
Yeah, KO says he may not be volunteering much anymore. So.
I think that he is one and done. It's time for sink or sail heading into tomorrow night's game. Will Justin Jefferson exceed 100+ yards? I'm going with sail. I mean, what do you think? 184 last week?
184.
I think 100 was very doable, so we're going with sail. I think all of us pretty unanimous about that.
Yeah, sail.
Even though the Eagles are, of course, concentrating on him, Ron.
This is the thing. You can try to do it, like Kevin O'Connell said. You got to find Carmen Sandiego. He's going to move him around the field.
It's a shell game.
Kirk Cousins, 3 touchdown passes.
I got to sink that one.
I'm going to go under.
I think 2.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2 because I think Dalvin's going to score.
Yeah, I think Dalvin's going to get
1 or 2.
his.
So
I'm sailing it. I'm thinking Jefferson's going to have another big day.
Why not?
So I'm not saying they're all going to go to JJ, but yeah.
The guy you mentioned, Irv Smith, who was pretty quiet last week. He'll get involved in the offense more and more. Will he score a touchdown tomorrow night? Will he get a touchdown pass?
I'm going to sink that.
I think we all have to go with the odds on that one. Not that you don't want it to happen, but it would be nice. Another weapon in the red zone.
Familiarity of the play calling. Johnny Munt was with the Rams. I feel like the first tight end touchdown is going to be Johnny Munt, unfortunately.
Jalen Hurts, the versatile quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, under 75 rushing yards for Philly tomorrow night.
I'm going to sell that.
Yeah, I think I am too. I think he's going to be their biggest weapon. All right, so we go with that. All right, we're on that. Now we kind of got big picture sort of stuff. The Eagles are the NFC East favorites. Week 1 overreaction, or are they the favorites to win the East?
I'm going to sell it because of Dak. Dak Prescott being out 6 to 8 weeks changed it. Originally, I think it was the Cowboys, then the Eagles, but now, because the Giants, okay. Commanders, probably not.
No.
But I think the Eagles now have a chance because Dak's going to be out. They can find a way to get 4 wins in this 8 game span. Yeah,
the division got I think weaker last week, so we're going to all go with that as well. The Vikings and the Bucs are the teams to beat in the NFC. Is this a 1 week overreaction? Those two? Is there any truth to this?
I'll sell it for now.
It.
I'll sell it.
Why not? I mean, I think Green Bay's got. Look, they lost the first game last year handily. They came back 1-13. Yep. They play the Bears tonight, so we'll see how that goes. But the Vikings, this is a huge game tomorrow night.
The Bears beat the Packers.
My goodness, then all bets are off.
And we had the Bucs going to the Super Bowl against the Bills, so you can't.
We're going to come back to wrap things up here, looking at some betting options, as they say in the business. So stay with us.
Welcome back to Vikings Game Day Live, presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Mark Rosen along with Ron Johnson and Don Mitchell, our final segment. And yes, this is our Fox Super 6, and you can play at home. How do you do that? Well, you download Fox Bet Super 6 app for a chance to win $100,000 of Terry Bradshaw's personal money, we think. Yeah. Well, here's our Super 6 matchup in this order. Let you guys weigh in here, too. Let's start with the Bucs against the Saints, a game you'll see right here on Fox 9 coming up at noon today.
Yeah, Jameis Winston I think is pretty good, but I got to go. It's tough to go against Tom Brady right now. So Tom Brady, I got the Bucs by 3.
Yeah, Tom Brady, too. He hasn't beaten them at home either. So I think it's time for Brady to break it out. No revenge game for Jameis Winston.
No, I agree. Got to go with the Bucs in this one. The next one, kind of an interesting matchup. The Panthers against the Giants. The Panthers were disappointing last week. Giants won, so who do you like in this one?
Yeah, Giants look good, but I got to go with Baker Mayfield. I think this is his week, so Panthers by 3.
No, I'm going Giants. Saquon Barkley. That's what I'm going for.
Barkley was named Player of the Week over JJ, right?
Yeah.
Not Nickelodeon. He got Player of the Week, so I'll go with the Giants as well on that one. Interesting matchup on paper. The Patriots against the Steelers. Patriots didn't look good at all, Ron.
No, and Mike Tomlin gave the Steelers defense black Air Force Ones. For those that don't understand, just Google what that is from Detroit. It's the thing. So Mike Tomlin got those guys ready to go.
Oh, boy.
I got the Steelers going by 6.
Yeah.
You know, I got Patriots by 3 because I think Belichick's just mad. That's what I'm going with.
I don't know
Maybe
what
it's the
last time the
hometown in
Belichick
me,
team
but-
started the season 0-2. It's
Yeah, right.
probably been a while, but I think he's going to go 0-2. I think the Steelers are going to win this one with Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. The Commanders and the Lions. I'll start first on this one. I just got to believe after last week that Dan Campbell's going to get his first win and beat Washington. I'm just not a big Washington fan. I don't think they're very good.
Yeah, I don't think so either. And I don't think I've ever done this before, but Lions by 6. So let's mark this day.
This is the first time they've been favored in like 10
I don't
years.
think I've ever picked the Lions in this Fox
Really?
Super Bet. So you guys make sure you bet Lions because this might be the only week you can do it.
You know, I'm going Lions by 3. They have DeAndre Swift, but he hurt his ankle, but he's still supposed to play. But so I have them by 3. So,
Seattle, surprise winner the other night against the 49ers this week, guys.
Yeah, and they're going to be losers this week. I think the Niners are going to. I'm just going with the Kyle Shanahan effect.
Yeah.
I'm going Seahawks. I'm going Seahawks by 3. I feel like Geno is going to, he's feeling it now. They got Russell Wilson out of the ghost out. So, hey, I think Seahawks by 3.
Pete Carroll can,
We should be
can do
marking
it.
this
Yeah.
down.
And then, of
See
course,
who's right.
tonight, the Bears and the Packers. I don't know, Aaron Rodgers hasn't lost to Chicago ever. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Yeah, I'm going with Packers again, and I still own you is going to repeat again. That's all.
I think Pete Bursis would say Bears by 1 million. But unfortunately, there's no rain, I don't think, in the forecast, so I'm going to go Packers by 3.
I can't see them going 0-2, especially losing to the Bears at home.
It would be nice to see them lose, though.
We would love it. Yeah. Get your final thoughts, Don, before you head to Philadelphia. Stay safe, by the way, first and foremost.
I got my luggage. Thank you very much. City of brotherly love. They're going to be nice to a sister. If the defense plays like they did last week and they can contain Jalen Hurts and they keep it going, I think the Vikings offense is just going to be on autopilot. I think it's about the defense. See what they can do. If they come out on top, they're going to win this one.
Yeah.
I think for Kevin O'Connell, it's going to go back to tempo again. Kirk Cousins has to fill this game. This is a Monday night game, so we know what Kirk Cousins' stigmata about Monday
He's won
night.
one.
He has won one. He's lost a lot of others, but I think this is his first time now with a coach that believes in him, trusts him to run this system and this offense. He did a great job week 1. Now, I think there's going to be an Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson combo night. We've seen Justin take off. Now it's going to be a combo night of the two.
Don, you've been preparing to go to Philadelphia. You've been reading a lot of the stuff that's going on in the Philadelphia newspapers, the articles. What are they saying about Justin Jefferson? How are they handling the preview for this game?
Yeah, Ron has a nice follow-up to it, but they said, hey, listen, the only way to stop him is to bracket him, right? We're going to put a corner on him. We're going to put a safety on top, try to tilt the field. But we all know if you try to do that they have so many other weapons on the field that can open up, whether it's going to be Thielen or they're going to do the run game. But I like your expression better.
Yeah, I mean, bracket, I like it. The best bracket they could have is go to Home Depot. There's these brackets you can put on the corner of the door. You can nail him in, and he can't get out of his hotel room.
Lock him in the
That's
room.
the best
Only way to
option
contain
they
JJ.
have to stop JJ. It's tough. I mean, I forgot who it was. I think it was Randy Moss and Curse Carter said that. You can't stop him. You can only hope to contain him. And I think that's what they're going to have to do. Like, hey, he's going to get us, but let's just try to minimize how much it happens. But Kirk Cousins, we know on third down, Kirk Cousins can't get predictable. And I think that's the other takeaway. Don't always go to JJ on third down. If Jalen Reagor's in there, Let Jalen do something.
Have some fun.
Give him an under route. Let him show that speed to Philly and say, hey, you traded me for no reason.
Enjoy your stay in Philly, Dawn.
Thank you. Hey, I like Philly. I do. I don't have to hang out in those parking lots with the people that come up from other towns.
Hey, reminder quickly, Fox NFL Sunday coming up next. We don't have a game, of course, the Viking game tonight, but we do have the Bucs and the Saints at noon. No late game either here on Fox, so you have the Vikings, no Vikings post game tonight. Instead, it's Fox 9 Sports Now. So we'll be back at US Bank Stadium next Sunday for the Vikings-Lions game. For Don Mitchell and Ron Johnson, this is Mark Rosen. Have a great day. Enjoy the NFL games today.
Vikings Game Day Live is presented by Luther Auto and Mystic Lake.
Right side three.